Sam Bowen.
And I'm Jordan Van Meter.
And this is Get a Clue about digital citizenship.
So what we've got here is a board game very similar to the game Clue, if you're familiar with it, and if not, we're going to teach you anyway. What we've got here is 3 sets of cards, this one being the suspects, which consists of grandma, dad, assistant instructor, the student, and professory.
She's a sneaky one.
Trust me. And then we have the social platforms, which would be Facebook, text messaging, GroupMe, email, Internet Explorer, and Canvas. And then we have the devices, which consist of the iPad, the laptop, iPhone, school computer, and desktop. Now, the way it works here is each player in the game is one of these suspects, and we have the pieces here which identify each of the suspects, and you'll be one of these, and then you start out on a square that's adjacent to the envelope. And when you begin play, grandma always goes first, and then it revolves clockwise, right?
Now that we've established that grandma goes first, let's talk about the point of the game, which is to figure out who did the incident and where the incident is and where it happened. So we start by taking like each pile of cards, and I'll have Jordan select one random card from each category, and then he's
without looking.
Yes, without looking, he's gonna go ahead and toss it
And
into
this
that envelope.
beautifully crafted envelope.
Do the same thing with all of them.
So now inside the envelope is one of the players, the device used, and the format within which it happened.
And then from there, we go ahead and evenly distribute the rest of the cards to each player. So we'll just kind of, pass them out. I think it was, 5? Okay. After all the cards are passed out to each player, we're also going to go ahead and place the different devices in each of the rooms. And it can just kind of be at random, however you're feeling on the given day. And once that is all established, we're going to go ahead and just start the game off. And if you remember, grandma always goes first, so.
That's me. All right, so I got a 5.
Woo!
And let's say I want to go ahead and move to the email platform. I go to move, and if you have extra moves, you just end your turn in one of the platforms, because your goal is to get in one of the platforms to make a guess at the end of your turn to begin with. But when you cross this black line here, you're required to draw one of our cards that is about digital citizenship. It's got a question about it. So this one says, read this article. What rule of the 14 rules listed do you abide by the most? So you take your little phony.
You're gonna go ahead, get your QR code scanner out, and obviously if this is done in a classroom, we're anticipating that the class will have iPads or some sort of like device where you would be able to use a QR code scanner, and it just takes you directly to the article where the student then will read it and answer the question on the piece of paper.
And after they've answered the question and written down their answer, play will progress clockwise.
So after the student answers their question, that's where we get into the part of this game where the game of Clue actually comes into play.
So the goal is to try to guess the platform, the suspect, and the device that the incident was committed with. Now you know that in your hand you have 3 cards, which in this instance are Facebook, Canvas, and professory. So your goal is to make a guess that doesn't include any of these, but you have to guess based upon which room your character is in. And seeing as, while I am myself, because I'm that suspect, I could still have been the one to commit the incident. So if I wanted to, I could guess that it was grandma with her iPad on Gmail, like maybe she sent an inappropriate email. And after I make my guess, the person next to me looks at their cards, and if they have either grandma, the iPad, or Gmail, they have to show me one of those cards in order to disprove me. And if they don't have any of those cards, then it goes to the person next to them, and then they would share one of the cards. And if it goes all the way around and nobody is able to disprove you, and it's not in your hand, then that means that you know exactly what's in the envelope and you've guessed it right and you win. So in this instance, I will guess grandma over Gmail with the iPad.
And then I go ahead and look in my hand, and I see that I have one of those things, and I will just show it to Jordan so that he knows, but not everyone else playing knows.
Neat. And then what you do is you'll have a separate piece of paper that you can write down which things you know it is or isn't. So I know that it's not grandma, and then I also know that it's not Facebook, Canvas, or Professory. So you keep track of those things. So later on your next turn, you have a better idea of what to guess.
Time goes on, obviously you're going to keep crossing over this black line to get into different rooms, and that will make you continue to answer these questions that we have. And you just need to be sure that as a student you are writing down your answers to the questions so that you can turn them into your teacher at the end of the game.
This will be how we can assess the information that our students have learned and how well they've done answering their questions.
And that's how you play Get a Clue about digital citizenship.